Danny, great to have you on board. You joined the series last week. You dominated everything with drivers who have been pushed. Danny, great to have you on board. You joined the series last week. Over the next 5 weeks, we're going to see drivers battle it out across some of the world's most famous race circuits.
Formula E drivers racing Formula 1 drivers racing F3 drivers. Crash there, Lando Norris out of the race.
He's just been untouchable.
Hello and welcome to the third round of the Isolation eRacing series. Last time out, it was Spaniard Danny Juncadella who dominated with a sterling performance. And up against some more great names, the question is, can he do that once again tonight? We'll soon find out. But first of all, you have been casting your votes, choosing tonight's circuit, and it is, of course, the famous Interlagos track based in the heart of the Brazilian city, Sao Paulo. Formula One first raced here in 1972, and we have seen since many titles clinched on this circuit. So it seemed appropriate to ask local driver Eduardo Barrichello to take us on a tour. Take a look at this.
Hello guys, I'm Eduardo Barrichello, and I'm gonna take you to a lap in Interlagos with the Dallara F3. So we're coming here to the first corner. We're gonna brake about the 50 board. Gonna go down to second gear. Bit of a lockup so we can go flat here in third. Now we're flat again here in Sol, which is sun in Portuguese. Going to the third corner, which is Lago, means river. Going to put third gear here. Try to carry as much speed possible because you're going up here. Going to put fourth gear, very fast corner. Very easy to go oversteer here. Second gear, a lot of curb here again. Going to even put first gear here, bit of a lockup. Easy to oversteer, getting out of the corner, easy flat. Now going to set up this corner very well because there's a long straight coming. Now you're just flat and hoping for the best in the straightaway. And hope you guys enjoyed. That was the lap in Interlagos.
Look, the one thing I want to ask you, Dudu, is about where you see your career going. You know, you're already looking to be heading towards IndyCar. Is IndyCar where it's at for you, or what's your thoughts on where you want to see your career going?
I don't actually know. I've obviously dreamt of being in an F1 car. That's my dream. But I think that now I'm already 18 years old. I haven't driven in Europe. We honestly right now do not have the money to go to, for example, FIE F3. So I think we have to stick with IndyCar. I would also love to be in Formula E. I think it's very nice. I love that, and I'm very good friends with Felipe Massa. Yeah. And he tells me every time that the car is very good to drive and the environment is very professional. So I would love to give that a try, yeah.
So it's all about the single-seater route?
I would say so, yes. I had the opportunity to race one time on a actual car, and in Brazil it's called sprint race. And a lot of good Brazilian drivers race it, and I was actually fortunate enough to it was me and my dad, so it was like a team race, and we were fortunate enough to win it. So I had a good experience with it, but I love the high speed corners and a single seater, and you don't really have that on an actual car because it's heavier and all that. So yeah, I do prefer the single seaters for sure.
You really light up when you talk about them. You know, you've got that real passion, and you know, I think you've got a massively bright future ahead of you. What does it feel like for a driver of your age to now be racing against the likes of Lando Norris? You know, you're going against Lando, Ollie Rowland, who's in Formula E. You know, we've got drivers across all walks of life. Drivers, you know, Jack Hawksworth, who have competed in the Indy stuff. For you at your level to now be competing against these guys and you can be beating them, it's pretty cool, right?
It's crazy, actually, because people think, oh, you're son of Rubens Barrichello, you must know everyone. I do not. So if I'm racing Max Verstappen, it's the same feeling as everybody else has it. And there was one time, actually, I was racing in an F3, and there was a name there, Max Verstappen, but I said, no way, it's him. And then he wrote me in the chat, and he said, do you need help with the setup? And I said, are you actually Max Verstappen? And then he said, yes. And I said, no, he's joking. And then I was sure it was not Max Verstappen, so I told him, if it's actually you, say hi to me on your DM. And he did. And I was over the moon. I couldn't even drive the car. So yeah, it was crazy. I got beaten by him, but only 1/10. I was P2.
Only 1/10, that's amazing.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, was it? But yeah, I had the opportunity to meet Lando Norris. We race sometimes against each other. It's so good, and Ollie Rowland is so good. Everybody, it's for me it's so crazy to race that Isolation E series. I love it. I love it.
Well, tonight Dudu will indeed have some intense competition, and none other than his father, former Formula One driver Rubens Barrichello, who is joining this series. So without further ado, let's cross over now to our commentators, Chris McCarthy and Jack Kinane.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Isolation eRacing series. This round number 3 of the championship, and tonight we are going to be racing at the Interlagos circuit in Brazil. My name is Chris McCarthy, here to talk you through the action as ever. Alongside me will be Jack Kinane. We are at the stage now of the championship where we are going to be just over halfway through. It was fantastic to hear from Eduardo Barrichello, though. The big news coming into round 3 is that he's also going to be racing against his father. Yes, Rubens Barrichello, former F1 driver, is on the entry list for this evening. It's going to be a fantastic couple of hours of racing. To remind those new viewers of the format, 60 drivers are currently on track taking part in qualifying. From there, they will be split into 3 heats, and in those 5-lap heat races, the top 10 will qualify through into the feature race, which is going to be a little bit later on in the evening. Drivers from 11th to 20th in each heat will go into a consolation race, and then drivers 21st or lower will be eliminated. It is the feature race later on where we score points. That mentioned consolation race is only 3 laps, so if you've found yourself in that, you've got to be starting high up the grid to have any kind of chance to get into the top 5. Which will then put you onto the back of the grid. So overall, we're going to have 35 drivers in that feature race later on. That is where the championship points are awarded. They go to the top 10. Our championship leader at the moment is Mohammed Ibrahim. But we will be back to talk you through the rest of qualifying very shortly. For now, though, we're going to head back to Gemma, who caught up with DTM driver Ed Jones.
Ed, thank you very much for joining us. You've been a regular competitor in the Isolation eRacing series so far. First of all, tell me, how do you find the series?
I've really enjoyed it. You know, with everyone struggling with this break of racing, or whatever you can do, you know, being stuck at home, it's been really nice to get involved with the online racing series with Isolation F3, and there's been a lot of others that I've been doing. But this specific one has been super competitive. You know, we've got such a good range of drivers from many different series. And again, just, you know, getting connections with old drivers that used to race against, teammates or you know, competitors as it was. So it's been really nice, and I've really enjoyed it. Maybe not the most consistent results so far, but we definitely had our ups and downs, and it's a challenge in real life as well.
Let's talk about your career a bit more as well then, because after Formula 3 you were with Trevor Carling at Carling Motorsports. Yeah. And you took the leap over to the States really from your career, having done the European circuit, won the Formula 3 Open Championship in Europe. Was the decision to go over to the States yours, or was that much more Trevor pushing you through? Because let's face it, Trevor's a man who likes to nurture talent who go to the top. But of course, he went over to the Indy scene himself. So whose decision was that?
Yeah, so, you know, raced with Trevor. He's, you know, done a huge amount for British motorsport and now ranging out into other series internationally. It's really, really fortunate to be working with him. I was back then. And it was just kind of, you know, something that we were both looking at, although we hadn't expressed our interest to each other about the American series at the time. When we both started talking about it, you know, it all just worked together. And, you know, I remember it was actually during the GP3 test in Abu Dhabi at the end of 2014. And that's when Trevor, you know, told us that he was thinking about that and that we were also interested in. That things moved very quickly after that, and was a successful campaign.
How did you find the ovals in the beginning? Because it's so different.
Yeah, it's a huge challenge. And coming from racing in Europe at the time, you know, the mentality is, oh, it doesn't look that difficult, you know, how hard can it be? But when you first get on that track, it's pretty daunting. And something I've grown to love, and probably my most favorite part about racing is ovals, really. just because it's not just the driving aspect, but the mental challenge of it is really hard and takes on a new level compared to the traditional road or street circuits I had done in the past.
This year was meant to be your DTM debut year, wasn't it? 2020.
Yeah, exactly. We made the change. There's a good opportunity over in GTM, and so we're really looking forward to getting on track. But it's quite a halt at the moment. So I'm sure everyone's just as frustrated as I am. But with this Isolation F3 series, we try to keep ourselves sharp and be ready when we get to the real racing.
Final question for you then. Tonight is Interlagos. Have you raced there before, and are you looking forward to the race?
I've never raced there in real life. I have driven there in the past, and it's been a super challenging track. So I'm really excited. It wasn't my favorite in the past, maybe because I struggled a bit, but I'm sure with a bit of practice, I'll love it a bit more. And I'm really looking forward to racing there.
Excellent. We'll have a great race. Thanks for joining us, Ed.
Thank you.
Great to hear from Ed Jones there, as Gemma mentioned, European F3 champion in 2013, also won the Indy Lights Series in 2016 as well. And he did pretty well in qualifying. He qualified within the top 10 overall. Now, just to remind you of the format, all drivers have been out on track qualifying. Drivers who are 1st, 4th and 7th have gone into this heat, 2nd, 5th and 8th into heat 2, 3rd, 6th and 9th into heat number 3. They're going to be 5 laps each. The top 10 are going to go through to the feature race. Drivers outside of the top 10 are going to be put into a consolation race where the top 5 will qualify through, giving us 35 drivers overall for the feature race later, which is where championship points are scored. As we can see, Felipe Drugovich at the top there. Felipe Drugovich doing very well in the championship. He's currently 2nd overall, chasing down Mohamed Ibrahim, who is 7 points ahead of him. Then we've got Sandy Mitchell. Dudu Barrichello is in 3rd place. New entry Robert De Haan in 4th place. Bart Horston is then in 5th place on row 3 with Cameron Daz. Casper Stuka, who is up in 7th in the championship, is there in 7th with British F4 driver Alex Connor. Good to see him along for this one. Josh Malin and Mahavir Raghunathan are row 5. Then it's Yves Baltaz and Nick Yelloly, who we're going to be hearing from later on. He is on row number 6. Behind that, we've got the likes of Jack Martin, Mike Epps, Gustavo Menezes, Hugo de Sadalier, who did well last time, Dev Gore in 17th. I'm not going to be talking you through the action on my own, of course, as ever. Jack Hanan is alongside me. Jack, first of all, welcome. It's going to be a pretty exciting evening, isn't this? We've got a fantastic track. We've got Rubens Barrichello and his son here as well. Lots of F2, XF1, F3, DTM drivers all with us this evening. And it's going to be a fantastic evening of racing around Interlagos in these F3 cars.
Exactly, so great to be here once again live on BT Sport as always. So the drivers are on a half a lap warm up now. The pace car rolling up towards the last corner with Felipe Drugovich on the right hand side of your shot. Then it's Sandy Mitchell on the left, and then Eduardo Barrichello. And it's the battle of father and son that we are watching today. It's interesting to see who's going to come out on top right there. And really good to see Mahavir Raghunathan joining in as well, a former F2 driver. Great to have him on the grid. But we're rolling up towards the start. 5 laps of action and 3 heat races to come. Chris, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Jack. Right, let's get going then. So Felipe Drugovich, he is currently 2nd in the championship. He's on pole position. Sandy Mitchell scored points at the opening round. He is 16th in the championship at the moment. Now, this is the first heat race of round 3 of the Isolation eRacing series. Remember, it is the top 10 who go through to the feature race. So that is what we are watching out for as they make their way down towards turn number 1. It is going to be a rolling start, and there we go. The lights have gone green as they head down towards turn number 1 for the first time. Let's hope we get a nice and clean start as they make their way through turn 1. We've got Robert De Haan there in 3rd place as well. Barrichello as well. Oh no, we've got a spinner. Oh, big accident. Raghunathan has gone flying off at turn number 1. He is now going to be in the consolation race. Bart Horston has hit problems as well. Drugovich appears to have got through safely. Then we've got Sandy Mitchell, who we are looking at now. I think he might... Oh, no, spin. Mitchell's gone, unfortunately. He spun round. More cars running wide as well. So a bit of a chaotic start. Sandy Mitchell now down in 14th. So he's going to have some work to do there, Jack.
Yeah, that's a massive shame for both Raghunathan and for himself there. But Drugovic leads. Barrichello is second now. As we look, Josh Malin up the inside of Kasper Stuka, Yves Baltas. So Robert de Haan is losing places quickly here. He's lost a lot of places around the outside. Hugo de Sadelier, he started down the back of the grid. Oh, there's another spinner. Cameron Das, I think that is. Or Yves Baltas. No, it is Yves Baltas who just lost the rear end there and got a little touch in the rear. So a messy start for these guys. Not the greatest, but they managed to get it back going again. Nick Yelloly now up to 7th place, but it's the two Brazilians out in front in heat race one. It's Drugovic and Barrichello, as Nick Yelloly trying to fight off Mike Epps there, makes a move on. That'll be Martin, and it's going side by side in the background as well, but a messy one to get us underway today. But like I said, the number 11 car, Felipe Drugovic and Eduardo Barrichello in 1 and 2.
Yep, Dudu Barrichello there going along well. Second, Brazilian 1-2, as you mentioned. Then we've got Malin in 3rd place, Stuka in 4th, de Haan in 5th. This is a battle for 10th. Don't forget, top 10 go through. So this is a very important battle, just as important as battling for the lead, really, as just running a little bit wider. Caught someone there. I think that might have been Epps. And now Jack Martin trying to go around the outside, or vice versa, as Epps is now in 10th place. So this a very important battle as they make their way down towards turn number 3. Is that Mike Epps being passed? It might have just been just ahead of that, actually. Jack Martin battling away with Alex Connor. So Martin goes up into 8th place. Connor there in 9th place, and Epps trying to come back at it now, so that could be Epps there sneaking through into 9th. Cameron Daz just sitting behind this in 11th. Then there's a bit of a gap to Mitchell and Baltas, so very close racing. We're on lap number 2 of 5, so still some time to go in this race, but you want to try and get some positions up as quickly as possible, as where you finish in this race won't just determine if you go through, but it will determine where you start the feature race as well. And Felipe Drugovic, Jack, at the moment looking good for pole position potentially.
Yeah, looking really, really good, composed. He was the fastest in qualifying, and Barrichello not far off the back of him either. So Barrichello, both of them here at their home track. Then it's Josh Malin with a very impressive performance at the moment in 3rd place. There is Josh. Kasper Stuka, the young Carter, he's under pressure though from Robert de Haan down towards turn number 1. Massive defence from Kasper Stuka around the outside. Robert de Haan going to think about it, no, but he sets the fastest lap of the race. So the Dutchman in his first race in the series, also a Carter in the WIK series, versus Kasper Stuka here on the outside line as we head down towards turn number 4. Stuka on the inside, back to the inside as we go down towards here. Can he get it done on the outside here? de Haan, is he going to be able to get stopped into turn 4 on the outside? So tricky. Stuka defends the middle of the road, manages to hold him off for now, but he's back up the inside. de Haan is really going at it here. The two Carters going wheel to wheel up towards the top of the hill. It's a really tricky place to make this work. Number 46 car, can you go around the outside? It's always tricky. He's having a go. He's still there on the outside line. He's trying to stick his nose, but just can't do it. Stuka putting on great defense, but this is fabulous racing between the two Carters.
Yeah, Kasper Stuka there in 4th now. Then we've got de Haan in 5th place, races in that WSK series, which kicked off a little bit earlier this year. On hold for now, of course, as all racing is. That's why we've got the Isolation eRacing series coming to you live on BT Sport to see all your favourite drivers going head-to-head out there in F3 cars on the exact same setups as well. So now we watch Kasper Stuka leading Robert de Haan in this battle for 4th place. Hugo de Sadelier, who was 8th last time out, trying to close in. Kasper Stuka, his season very impressive so far. He's had a 9th and a 4th place, leaving him 7th in the championship. Out front, Barrichello still trying to chase down Drugovic, but we're going to be side by side here. That looks like de Haan trying to go back down the inside of Stuka as they make their way through the first chicane, and that is a move now made for Kasper Stuka, is it? And he's now got up a position. So, in fact, de Haan, up into 4th. Stuka dropping back down to 5th, but Stuka's going to come back at him on the penultimate lap of the race. There goes Stuka back down the inside. Good racing this. Jack, as much as it's good racing, it's allowing the likes of us to Sadelier and Yelloly to close in behind.
Yeah, you can see the multicoloured car behind us really closing in fast now. The Swiss driver trying to close up to these two Carters up ahead of him. So Haan is unable to get past. He's managed to go around the outside of the Senna S in turn 1, but Kasper Stuka managed to come back at him. So good racing, really good racing between the two of them. This is for position on the grid in the feature race when we get there later on, the 10-lap feature race at the end. Now we look back. That is Mike Epps and Jack Martin. I think Mike Epps has just passed him for 8th place, and Sandy Mitchell has actually made it back into 10th place. So Sandy Mitchell, he's still in that feature race now, so it's a good recovery drive at the moment from Sandy Mitchell.
Yeah, definitely agreed. He'll be towards the back of the grid, but the most important thing is he's there, and he can actually gain himself a couple more places here with Martin and Epps just ahead, and Yelloly a little bit further up the road. But Sandy Mitchell, the GT World Challenge driver, definitely has a chance here to try and make some positions, and it looks like he's going to go on the hunt as we make our way down towards turn number 1, Jack.
Yeah, Mitchell gets it stopped on the inside as well, and trying to get up behind Mike Epps at the same time as well, because Epps was slow out of the Senna S. So can Sandy Mitchell get a double one here? Just a little bit further up front, you can see Stuka and De Haan are still going at it up front for the last couple of positions in the top 5. So Mitchell to the outside of Mike Epps, down to turn 4. Mike Epps on the inside now with Mitchell with the cutback. He has a little go. He's got the car on the inside. He's got a nose ahead alongside. And there's De Haan as well, trying the same thing. So up the hill, can he now go around the outside? We've seen a couple of guys try this, but it's so difficult because of the camber of the corner. The inside is much more favourable. Epps defends it and holds on for now. With only half a lap to go, it's Drugovic and Barrichello out front. De Haan drops back now as we head around a couple of final corners, and Drugovic has been completely untroubled out front.
Yeah, so far so good for Felipe Drugovic. He was 6th at the first round. He was 2nd last time out, and he's going to get on home soil off to a very good start. Felipe Drugovic, this is going to put him on pole position for the feature race later. Barrichello behind his countryman. Dudu Barrichello will start from 4th place with that finish, and Malin will start from 7th place. The top 10 are going to go through, but that is checkered flag. Felipe Drugovic qualifies through to the feature race and takes pole position. Barrichello finishes 2nd. Malin is 3rd. Stuka is 4th place. De Haan is 5th. De Sadler is 6th. Nick Yelloly 7th. Then it's Mike Epps in 8th place. Sandy Mitchell is 9th. And Jack Martin is 10th. Those are the 10 drivers to qualify through. We'll see them in the feature race later. As for Cameron Daz, Alex Connor, Dev Gore, Yves Baltas, Gustavo Menezes, Mahavir Raghunathan and Bart Horston, they will go into the consolation race, which will take place just before the feature race, Jack. So that is heat number 1 complete. Last round, we had a very exciting new entry in Dani Juncadella. The Spaniard came in with a bang and took the race victory, which put him all the way up to 3rd in the championship. He's going to be racing again this evening, and Gemma went to catch up with him.
Danny, great to have you on board. You joined the series last week. You dominated everything with drivers who have been pushing it to the max for the last month and practicing and everything else. You came through and you just stormed your way through. You won your heat and then won the race with ease.
I don't think it was easy at all because the level of the drivers around me, like Felipe Drugovic, I know him since quite some time in iRacing, and he's very quick. So even if it looked like, okay, he won both races, he pulled away, he was on his own, I don't think it was that easy at all. So it's always a hard push to win these races against these guys.
The race tonight, you're going to be going head to head with Rubens Barrichello, former Formula One driver. You know, we've had Lando Norris racing in the series as well. What's it like to be racing amongst so many different talents?
Especially Rubens. I mean, I think this guy is super cool. I met him a couple of weeks ago virtually, like we were racing together in a couple of races, and I actually have a picture with him when I was 6 years old at a racetrack, and I showed him the picture and he was like, wow, I feel really old now. And he actually was the one who wrote me for this Isolation eRacing series, because he saw the race I did that I won in Suzuka, and he was like, oh, Danny, I wanna take part in this series. And I was like, well, yeah, sure, man, I can give you a hand to come racing with us. But to be fair, there's a lot of young kids. They are super quick. They're practicing all the time. So I'm not sure if you're gonna be up for the challenge. He's like, no, it's a great time. Mondays at that time is great for me. So yeah, I want to go racing. Let's go. Let's do it. So yeah, he's very cool. You know, he doesn't have that ego that would be like, okay, I'm racing against names I've never heard of, young kids that just want to go banging wheels against me and I'm going to finish P15 or whatever.
It's going to be a great race. Oh, listen, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for bringing Rubens on board as well.
Yeah, it's cool. I hope we can make it many more. You know, it's growing a lot, and I think this series is great for us and for everybody, and to entertain people. You know, at the end, that's also the main goal.
Great to hear from Dani Juncadella. Right, same situation. Heat number 2, top 10 go through. Over to Jack Canan for the start.
Thank you very much, Chris. Nico Varone on the right-hand side of your shot, BRDC British F3 driver. Next to Mohammed Ibrahim, your championship leader. Behind them, Ollie Rowland, FIA Formula E, and Seb Morris in 4th place. Will Stevens, Jake Dalton, Jack Hawksworth, Freddie Spindlow, Alfred Nilsson, and Matthias Kapprig are your top 10. Let's get ready to rumble in towards turn 1 for heat race 2. Great start, Nico Varone. Away we go. And Ollie Rowland has caught Mohammed Ibrahim napping as well as they come towards turn 1 for the first time. Ollie Rowland up the inside. Seb Morris going to try and follow him through as well. Freddie Spindlow, Will Stevens having a go up the inside as well, as a slow car in the middle of the road is going to just put a cork in the bottle for a lot of the guys. A spinner. Oh, that is Jake Dalton, I think, gone off the road hard into the wall. It's Ollie Rowland. Ollie Rowland is off at turn number 1. That's such a shame for Oliver Rowland involved in that one. Jake Dalton is out. Seb Morris is out. But it's Nico Varone and Will Stevens up to 2nd place. Mohammed Ibrahim, Freddie Spindle, Tristan Nunez, and Jack Hawksworth. Oh, even more contact. That is Tristan Nunez around as well, and even more. It's gone absolutely to shambles for a lot of these guys. That's Freddie Spindle with the broken car there. He gets it back going again. Well, that was a messy start for a lot of the guys, but that has put Nico Varone, even more, Alfred Nilsson off the road at the top of the hill. Total chaos in this second heat, but after all of that, it's Nico Varone, the former F1 driver, Will Stevens, Mohammed Ibrahim, Jack Hawksworth, and Richard Verschoor from the back of the grid. How about that one, Chris?
Well, it's almost not a surprise, is it, given the amount of cars that went off? It's a case of if you now finish, you're probably going to be going through into the feature race and in those top 10. But yeah, Oliver Rowland, that definitely is a big one to have lost, because he is 4th in the championship, was going on a good run, got 5th at round 1, 3rd at the last round. He was tied 3rd with Danny Yukadea in the points, but he's going to be in the consolation race. Nico Varone didn't have good luck at the last round. He actually didn't go into the feature race, so good to see Nico Varone get off to a better start this time, and great to see Will Stevens, of course, won the Le Mans 24 Hour back in 2017 in the GTE class, and Will Stevens there in 2nd. Championship leader Jack Mohammed Ibrahim just has a tendency to stay out of trouble. This is the first battle within the top 5 that we come to, and it is Jack Hawksworth versus Richard Verschoor. Richard Verschoor to the left of screen there. Then we have to the inside, Jack Hawksworth on the outside. There goes Richard Verschoor, and that is going to be 4th place, and he can definitely make some more with Ibrahim not too far ahead, Jack.
Yeah, he's got to watch out because Hawksworth coming back in him on the outside line. I don't know if Hawksworth's going to have a think about the outside. Not quite. He might have a little cutback line coming to the top of the hill into turn 6. Got to think about it. Not quite. Got to watch out for Adam Christodoulou, who's on a good run in 6th place as well. Then it's Matt Greenwood, Cian Donaldson, Tristan Nunez still going. Alfred Nilsson is in that last feature race spot in 10th at the moment. So even after his spin, he's got going, which is exactly what you need. Cian Donaldson came from the very, very back up to 8th place. So the Scotsman drives the MX5 series. He's holding on well right there. There's Matt Greenwood with Cian Donaldson right behind him. Heading on to lap number 3, it's still Varone with a really nice lead over Will Stevens. Mohammed Ibrahim, he's hanging in there, but he's actually caught Will Stevens, and now Stevens, I think, is going to be under pressure heading towards turn 1. We ride on board with Mohammed Ibrahim, the Indian driver, heading towards someone firmly in the slipstream. Stevens, is he going to defend, or is he just going to leave the door open for Ibrahim? I think he's going to just leave the door open because he knows Ibrahim is quicker down the inside. Ibrahim goes up the inside, Stevens just lets him through and follows. I think that's a smart decision from Will Stevens.
I think so. Mohammed Ibrahim, championship leader. He goes through to 2nd. Will Stevens, he's got a gap behind, hasn't he? So he can just tuck in now behind Ibrahim for the rest of the race and maybe come back at him on the last lap. This is definitely good news for the likes of Jack Hawksworth, because he hasn't made a feature race so far this season. So he'll be very happy to tuck in behind Richard Verschoor and get into the feature race for the first time and try and score some points. Adam Christodoulou, he hasn't had the best of luck either, so he's going along well there in 6th. Then we've got Greenwood, Donaldson, Nunez and Nielsen. They're the top 10 that are going to take those feature race places. This is a good battle though. This is Greenwood actually going past Donaldson, I believe. So Cian Donaldson, who's come close, he's defending, he's come close to a top 10 at the last round, but Cian Donaldson there now fighting with Matt Greenwood, this for 7th place, Jack.
Yeah, exactly. On board with the Scottish driver Cian Donaldson. Very different car to what he's used to. He's used to driving a Mazda MX-5, so you couldn't really get much more different in a single-seater Formula 3 on the back of Matt Greenwood, VLN driver. Big twitch from Greenwood there on the exit there up the hill, dragging up the hill down towards the main straight to start lap 4 of 5 in the second heat race. Top 10 go through. This is for 8th place, 7th place now. Cian Donaldson up towards turn 1, firmly in the slipstream, moves to the outside. Greenwood is going to defend that one, heading towards the Senna S towards turn 1. 1. Number 97 car on the outside. Can he outbrake Greenwood into turn 1? Not quite. Donaldson now going to look for the cutback down towards the Casino del Lago. Not quite going to get it there, so he's going to have to hang back. He will have another slipstream, though, down towards turn 3 and 4. But again, I don't think he's close enough. I think Donaldson, and they don't need to fight too much because they are secure in the feature race. But either way, it's an extra spot on the grid. Donaldson to the inside. He's going to try and outbrake Greenwood. No, just shows himself in the mirror. There's not quite enough space there, but not decent racing between the two of them there. And Greenwood holds on for now.
Yep, Greenwood just about holding on. The only risk you take if you're Cian Donaldson here with all these moves is that you have an incident, collide with Greenwood, take yourself out the race, and then that's you going into the Consolation race, and that is going to be a very interesting race. First time we've had it since round number 1. That's the only risk Cian Donaldson is taking, but of course he is a racer, and that's what he has come here to do, and he's doing that with Matt Greenwood, the VLN driver, here in this second heat. Behind and closing in is Alfred Nielsen, since these two have been battling away as Cian Donaldson tries to move down the inside at the last corner. Doesn't quite work, and he's going to lose a bit of time there, and Alfred Nielsen behind Jack is going to close in now on Donaldson.
I actually believe that's the lapped car of Mateusz Kaprick behind them. Yeah, so I don't think he's quite close enough yet, but now Cian Donaldson, the number 97, onto the last lap. If he wants an extra grid slot, he's going to have to make this move, but Mateusz Kaprick could be a spanner in the works if he wants to try and unlap himself. Now Donaldson late on the brakes up the inside, but Greenwood, does he have it covered? There's just enough space for Donaldson to make his way through. Now Kaprick goes through. Is he going to unlap himself past these two cars? And Donaldson's now going to drop back as a result of that one. So Donaldson's lost out with Kaprick trying to unlap himself, and he went a bit wide. And now we go back because Rashour has taken third place, away from Will Stevens as they head up the hill. Stevens back to the outside. He's going to try and come back at him. No, not quite. So for sure, he's driven an amazing race from the back of the grid, got himself into the feature. Now third place and a decent spot on the grid for the feature race with the top 10 going through. So Tristan Nunez now into that top 10. Jonathan Hogarth is going to miss out on this one. Shame for Jonathan as they now come towards the end of this second heat race, and completely untroubled out front has been the BRDC British Formula 3 driver Nico Verone. He's had no problems, perfect start, and heading towards the line. It's not going to be pole position in the feature race. That goes to Felipe Drugovich. Either way, Verona is looking quick, and he looks to be a force to be reckoned with in the number 25 car. He comes across the line. He makes the feature race. Nico Verona wins heat race 2. Mohamed Ibrahim, there he is in the background, the championship leader. He's going to make it through as well. Richard for sure, and Will Stevens in 4th place. A good performance from Will Stevens there, Chris.
Yeah, ex-F1 driver doing very well there. Jack Hawksworth in 5th. Adam Christodoulou through in 6th place. Greenwood in 7th. Then we've got Donaldson in 8th. A good little battle between those two, which I'm sure they'll pick up in the feature race a little bit later on. Then Alfred Nielsen. Good drive from the Swede. He goes through into 9th. Tristan Nunez in 10th. Unfortunately for Hogarth, Spinlow, Kaprick, Morris, Rowland, Dalton and Jaden Conwright, for them it's going to be that Consolation race, which is only 3 laps. This is Freddie Spinlow just rounding out the field in 12th place, rounding out some of the finishers. That is anyway, of course, Kaprick and co were all either a lap down or out of the race. So that's good for Verona, isn't it, Jack? He didn't have a good round last time. He got the season off to a very good start with 2nd. Now he is going to be into the feature race and starting on the front row. And likewise, Ibrahim, his good form continues.
Yeah, it's a really, really good one from Mohamed Ibrahim, and especially for Nico Verone, showing that he's got pace. We head to heat race 3 now very shortly with Danny Juncadella, Phil Dennis and Ed Jones on the front row. And it's been a good one for these guys.
Yeah, it has. But before we do, we're actually going to throw over to Gemma, who's preparing to speak to one of the drivers. So we'll hand over to Gemma now.
Thank you very much, boys. Well, at the moment, we don't have one of the drivers with us. I think they're all still recovering from the carnage that was in that last heat. But great to see, such an interesting first heat. Very, very clean. The drivers really pulling up through some very, very close battles. And that one there, just a little bit less tidy in so many ways. But I think what's going to be interesting now, we've just seen in heat 1, Dudu Barrichello having a great performance. He's on fire. He really, really wants to prove himself tonight against his dad, and his dad's about to head out in this next heat. And when we saw him earlier on, before we came to air in free practice, Rubens was showing fine form. He was pretty quick and close behind his son there. And I think the two of them have had a bit of a friendly battle between them this week, having spoken to them throughout the course of the week and had to catch up with them. So that's going to be fun to watch. But what a great performance we had there from all of our drivers. A shame for Ollie Rowland, and it leads me to the question of how close these sims are to real life, because he stepped out of a Formula E car yesterday and into a Formula 3 car today. So interesting to make those comparisons as well. But Drogovic tonight looking hot, isn't he, guys? He's certainly put in a fine performance in his first heat there, and I think he's going to be gunning against the other two Brazilians. So back to you guys.
Yes, indeed. Rubens Barrichello down in 16th place. As ever, top 10 go through. Danny Juncadella starting on the front row with Phil Dennis, Jack.
Exactly. Danny Juncadella, we know how fast he is, what he did last week in Suzuka. Next to Phil Dennis, Ed Jones and Ramez Azam right behind him. Here we go, and away goes Juncadella straight away. Phil Dennis reacts well down towards turn number 1. The number 23 car on the inside, Ed Jones, going to try and follow him in towards turn 1, and then Juncadella defends that one. Now Ed Jones trying on Phil Dennis, not going to quite go through there. Now James Pull around the outside, the spinner, I think that's a car around. Another car just spinning in turn number 1. That looked like Campbell, who spun around. That's Alex Alcaraz, who spun in turn 1. Then it's Campbell, who also got involved in another one. So Juncadella with a good start, but now Phil Dennis challenging him on the outside line. Is he going to have a go? What's a move? Phil Dennis, he's got it done on Juncadella. Can he close off the door? And as they head up towards turn number 5 on the outside, Juncadella, has he been caught napping here on the outside line? Phil Dennis has got it done. Azam goes through to 4th. That is brilliant driving from Phil Dennis, the Indy Pro 2000 driver. He's got it done on a very experienced driver, Danny Juncadella.
Yeah, great driving from Phil Dennis, but now he's got to try and handle the pressure of Danny Juncadella, who's chasing 2 wins in a row. We're on board with Danny Juncadella here, who throws one down the inside, and that a perfect move there from Juncadella. So Dennis now drops to 2nd. We've got Jones in 3rd, Paul in 4th place, Azam in 5th, Ben Barnico rounding out the top 6 as out of the last corner we come, and we make our way down the long start finish straight between turns 13 all the way to turn 1. We go through 14, we go through 15 as well. It's a long old straight, and it's going to keep the drivers very close together throughout this race. Juncadella, Dennis, Jones, Paul, Azam, Barnico, Turney, Tinknell, Hadsberg and Hyman in the top 10 at the moment, Jack, as here they go in towards turn number 1. That looks like Juncadella. Now Juncadella defending, Dennis looking to the outside, so Juncadella back into the race lead. Dennis drops down to 2nd place, and Ed Jones gets a little bit closer there in 3rd.
Yeah, poor Ben Barnico hard on the wall. Joe Turney involved as well on the exit of turn 4. That's such a shame for those two. And Phil Dennis is going to try what he did a lap earlier, but Juncadella is wise to it. Now the cutback, and there is Ed Jones now. So now is a 3-way battle as they just nose to tail up towards the top of the hill. In the background, James Pull battling away with Ramez Azam now. Phil Dennis to the outside line. That's going to leave the door open maybe for Ed Jones to have a go. He's got his nose on the inside. DTM driver having a think about it, but he's not quite close. Juncadella goes wide to try and defend. Good driving from the Spaniard. Azam back to 4th now. Pull, Tinknell, Raoul Hyman, Ferdinand Hadsberg. Rubens Barrichello is in 9th and in the feature race at the moment. There he is in his old Jordan Peugeot livery. Great to see that livery making a return as well, the number 111. But it's an amazing sight to see Rubens out there, and he's in with a chance of making the feature race now.
He is, isn't he? So come all the way from the back of the field up into 9th place. So let's see if he can hold his own. Never had the best of luck around this circuit in F1. Only got on the podium once, and that was in 2004. But great to see him here. He's now trying to chase down Ferdinand Hadsberg, and he's got Oliver Jarvis behind him as well. This a good battle going on for 3rd place, for 4th place. Sorry, we've got James Poole versus Ramez Azam versus Harry Tinknell. 3 wide. Is that going to work as they make their way through the first chicane? It looks like Azam has got through. Poole drops down to 5th place. Tinknell in 6th, but they're not done with each other yet, as down towards the left-hander we go at turn number 3. Azam defending on the inside now, trying to hold off 3 drivers behind him as they come through the left-hander. We've got Azam there just on the outside. Paul is now in 4th place, Tinknell in 6th, and Raoul Hyman closing in there in 7th place as well. He's now having a look to the outside of Harry Tinknell, who's gone slightly defensive. The FIA F3 driver, Raoul Hyman, is he going to think about a move up the inside? Not at the moment. So this quartet scrabbling, and guess who's catching in, Jack? it is Rubens Barrichello.
This is going to get interesting. Raul Hyman's now in the back. Rubens is just a car and then 2 cars back. There he is in the number 111. So now this is a really, really interesting fight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars involved in this one. About to head on to lap 4 of 5 when we come across the line next time. But it is getting even more interesting. We look at Ferdinand Hatzberg now as they head up the hill. The Austrian driver getting chased by Rubens Barrichello in the number 111 Jordan livery in the background now, but now it's going to get even more interesting. Here we go. Azam coming back at James Pull and Raul Hyman going at Harry Tinknell at the same time, heading towards turn 1. 2 by 2 they go. Azam to the outside. He tried this earlier. To the outside pull. Is he going to hold on? Yes, he does. And Hyman round the outside. Tinknell pulls off the road. He spins in front. Oh, big accident. Harry Tinknell with a huge one over the top of the barrier into the pit lane. And that is race over for Harry Tinknell. There's a car that hit him on. Joe Turney hit him as he came out of the pit lane. But this is going to put now Rubens Barrichello. We go on board with Rubens now as he goes through into the bottom hairpin here, and Raul Hyman goes through as they try to fight it out here. Ferdinand Hatzberg now going to hold on, but here comes Rubens up the hill trying to get a move on the inside line of Ferdinand Hatzberg. Hatzberg to the outside of Hyman, but the door's open for Rubens Barrichello to try a move here. Is he going to have a go on the brakes here on the inside? Yes, he does. And Rubens, has he got it done? I think he has. Hatzberg still on the inside though, and this is great stuff. An F1 legend fighting with Ferdinand Hatzberg here round the outside. I think he's got it done. Lovely move for Rubens, and now going to have a go at Raul Hyman at the same time. But that was a huge crash for Harry Tinknell that has gifted Rubens Barrichello 6th place.
Yeah, great stuff. This must be bringing Rubens Barrichello back some memories. He won the British F3 title back in 1991, so he is quick in these cars, and Rubens Barrichello has just got himself up to 6th place. He's now got Raul Hyman ahead of him. He's chasing down a top 5 finish, so Rubens Barrichello, that would give him quite a good start actually for the feature race. Danny Juncadella and Phil Dennis now squabbling for the lead. Phil Dennis trying to go around the outside, gets up the inside into turn 2, but has to back out again, so Juncadella just about holding on. Dennis throwing everything he has at this. Ed Jones closing in 3rd place as well. Barrichello, let's not forget, he's battling away with Hyman, but here is Juncadella defending. Dennis to the outside. Can Dennis get through? May attempt the switchback here, Jack, as we are fighting for the lead on the final lap. There's Dennis now. He is to the outside. Juncadella to the inside, and getting closer and closer is Ed Jones. These two have been almost side by side the entire lap now. We're on the last lap of the race. The top 10 go through. It's still Danny Juncadella who leads. Dennis right there, but he's got to be careful now, Jack, of Ed Jones behind.
Yeah, Ed Jones closed up as Dennis tried to move on the outside. I think that's going to have cost him. Is he going to hang back? I think it's going to be a run for the line. Dennis needs to get right on Juncadella's tail here as they come towards. Bear in mind, this is not the feature race. This is just the heat race. This is only to get in the feature race, and it's extremely intense. Dennis with a good exit out of the last corner. That's going to be a run for the line between Danny Juncadella and Phil Dennis, because Dennis will have the slipstream heading towards the line now. I think Juncadella should just about hold on here, but we're going to keep an eye on it because it's going to be very, very close. Juncadella, I think, has just done enough here. Yes, he has it, running towards the line. Dennis, very late, moves to the outside, but Juncadella just holds on. Phil Dennis, Ed Jones, Ramez Azam, and in the background, Raul Hyman fends off Rubens Barrichello by just a half a car length. Barrichello is in with his son. Ferdinand Hatzberg, Oliver Jarvis, then Campbell and Harry Cottrell is going to make that feature race. But for Tarhan, Alcaraz, Ollie Behrman, James Pull, Joe Turney, Harry Tinknell with that massive crash, and Ben Barnacle, it is the consolation race for them. What a race!
Yeah, that's bringing me back memories, actually. Rubens Barrichello represented Brazil in the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals. I think it was in 2016. He came from all the way to the back of the field in the DD2 class and finished 4th. And just great to see another brilliant charge through the field there from Rubens Barrichello. We will see how he gets on later in the feature race. We have the consolation race coming up, but whilst that is going on, we're going to go back to Gemma Scott, who sat down to speak with Nick Yelloly.
Ed, thank you very much for joining us. You've been a regular competitor in the Isolation eRacing series so far. Nick, great to have you as part of the series. Of course, you are absolutely no stranger whatsoever to sim racing. You know, this is something that you do regularly as part of your job.
Yeah, exactly. I've been working at Racing Point, or the previous Force India, and the soon-to-be Aston Martin Racing for now since 2014, so a long old time. But started the role back when I was doing GP3 for Status Grand Prix, and yeah, been there ever since. So yeah, it's something that I'm used to in a sense of simulation, but very, very different in the way that they actually drive comparably.
What does your role actually involve then with the team?
So simulator development for one, and then the other parts, obviously car development, aero development, and then race support on the weekends as well. So when they're wherever they are in the world, we'll be in at the same time in the UK as the free practices, and then we can kind of extend the free practices. So if there's anything that they wanted to get through that they didn't, maybe for a technical problem or just didn't have simply have the time, then we can carry on that session and give feedback accordingly.
It's incredible for people to understand the role of the sim, because I think over the years there's been this misconception that the sim has simply been for a driver to learn a circuit. But actually it's far more technical than that, looking at the telemetry, looking at the engineering and looking at actual settings on the car.
Yeah, I mean, there's pre-event work that both Lance and Sergio will come in and do before each event, well, time permitting, because sometimes if it's back-to-back in the other side of the world, it's not very convenient to be able to nip back to Silverstone. But that's where I come in and try and do the pre-event prove-out work and have, say, 3 or 4 different setups that they can start with and then move to throughout the free practice sessions, really. And it's it's come on such a long way in the 6 years that I've been doing it, and I'm only... it's only just touching the tip of the iceberg, really. So,
and how does that sim that you're working at there with Racing Point compare to the sim that you're using for this particular championship or series that we're running?
It's been very actually difficult. I think the iRacing platform in general is very, very good, and the way that you race and the formats is all very good. But for me, not having something moving underneath me to tell me when the car is sliding or not, it's been quite difficult. So just trying to take the cues from the force feedback in the steering wheel and all visually, I'm still spinning far too often, if I'm honest, but getting used to it slowly.
Is it physically demanding in this particular one, do you find?
It's a different sort of, so I feel it more in my hands, to be honest. So I notice a lot of the guys have got grip tape or tennis tape around their steering wheel, and that's something I'll definitely look into. So I'd say it's mainly in the hands, and then very, very small mistakes penalise you quite largely, I find. So an overslip of the tyre, particularly on the iRacing tyre model, seems to, it's almost like driving a Pirelli. So it falls off a cliff quite fast, and then before you know it, you can have a big spin or half a spin and lose a lot of time. So it's definitely a different skill, but one that as a racing driver you're trying to get on top of just to be able to compete.
It's great to see everybody competing, and across all levels as well. Karting through to Formula One is fantastic. Let's go back and touch on your career a little bit if we can, because you and I first met a long time ago when you were racing in the World Series by Renault, Formula Renault 3.5. And sort of looking back on that, back in, I think it was 2012, when you finished 5th in the championship, and you were racing in and amongst a really impressive grid at that time. There was Jules Bianchi, there was Da Costa, there was yourself, Sam Bird, Kevin Magnussen. Some of those guys have propelled themselves forward into Formula One. What happened with you, Nick? Because you shone through as a real big star in that time, and we've seen a little bit less of you towards the top end of the sport.
Yeah, 2012 was a great year for me, and then I went to do GP3, and it all fizzled out a little bit. But the saving grace was I got picked up by a Porsche team, Project One, in 2017 because of engineer Richard Selwyn, who I worked with in World Series Renault. So it all comes back, and that really saved my career because they funded me in my start to GTs, and once I started winning in that, everything really took off.
What's the aim now for you? Because you're still young, you've still got a lot of racing time ahead of you, and looking at the GT career, you're still racing GT cars. What's the ambition?
For me now, it's winning the big races. You want to win Nürburgring 24-hour, Spa 24-hour. I'd love to do Daytona and Le Mans as well. And I'm actually enjoying my time in GTs and being a factory driver a lot more than I did the single-seaters, because in single-seaters, I'm a racer, and you can't get quite close enough, in my opinion, to be able to really get your elbows out, a bit of contact, a bit of rubbing and racing. So in the GT side of it, I've been able to do that, and that's what I love. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, enjoy Thank you so much for your time, for chatting to us. Great to catch up.
No problem.
Thank you, Nick.
A really fascinating interview there with Nick Yelloly from Gemma Scott. Great to hear about Nick Yelloly talking about his work he does with Racing Point F1 on the sim, and how much sim work is involved with F1 teams, particularly during race weekends as well. And also great to hear him talk about his step from going to single-seater racing then to going over to GT racing. He's been quite successful at it recently, as Nick Yelloly's had the 29-year-old is the reigning China GT champion and former vice champion in the Porsche Super Cup as well. But let's go to this. This is the consolation race. The top 5 from this are going to go through, and it looks as if Cameron Daz, Alex Connor, Matthias Kaprik, Yves Baltaz, and Alex Alcaraz are going to be the ones to go through, Jack.
Yeah, as we run to the line, we're on the final lap. So Cameron Dass, it's going to be very close between the two of them. Cameron Dass, I think, has just about held on to that one versus Alex Connor. Then Matthias Kaprik, Yves Baltaz, and a run for the line. Behrman, I think, just misses out for Ollie Behrman. He was at half a car length behind Alex Alcaraz. He's out. So Alex Alcaraz, Yves Baltaz, Matthias Kaprik, Alex Connor, and Cameron Dass are into the feature race. No more from Harry Tinknell, Gore, Menezes, Joe Turney, unfortunately not going to make it. Tarhan, Spindlow, Raghunathan, Conright, and a couple of instances for Seb Morris, Ollie Rowland, Bart Horston, Ben Barnacle, Jake Dalton, Jonathan Hoggart, and James Poole are all out after a lap 1 incident. It was only 3 laps, extremely intense, but we're heading to the all-important feature race now, Chris.
Yeah, it was a real shame for Oliver Rowland. So that's really going to affect him. He is 4th in the championship, but I don't expect he will be there at the end of this evening. This is the feature race then. This is where the points are handed out. The points go to the top 10 drivers. The winner gets 25 points. Felipe Drugovich, he's currently second going in the championship going into this. He is on the front row with Nico Verone, who is 5th in the championship. Danny Juncadella is 3rd in the championship. He starts 3rd here. Dudu Barrichello in 4th place there. Good to see him going strong on home soil. Mohamed Ibrahim, he is our championship leader. He has a 7-point gap over Drugovich, so that could change if they were to finish in those positions. But he starts 5th. Phil Dennis, 10th in the championship, is 6th. Josh Malin and Richard Verschoor are then on row 4. 2 drivers yet to score points, so could be potentially very good results for them. Likewise, Ed Jones, his best result so far in the season is 28th. Kasper Stuka, 7th in the championship, rounds out the top 10. Then it's Will Stevens and Ramez Azam. Flicking through the rest of the good, we have Dahan, Hawksworth, Hyman, Desadelier, Christodoulou, Rubens Barrichello came through very well in his heat. Let's see what he can do from 18th place. Yelloly, who we just spoke with, he's 19th with Greenwood, Hadsberg, Epps, Donaldson, Jarvis, and then rounding out the field, Mitchell, Nielsen, Campbell, Martin, Nunes, Cottrell, Daz, the 5 drivers to come through the consolation race, Daz, Connor, Kaprik, Baltaz and Alcaraz. It's going to be a 10-lap race, so not a particularly long race, but definitely not a short one either. Drugovich and Ferrone on the front row. The top 10 score points, as I've said, so expect guys outside of the top 10 and particularly the top 15 to be doing the best they can to make places early on. And as for Rubens Barrichello, he starts down in 18th place. Jack, I'm going to hand over to you. It's going to be a good one. 10 laps on the clock. Drugovich leading us on the front row with Verone alongside.
It's going to be fantastic. If you are watching at home, you're watching the Isolation eRacing Series live on BT Sport, round number 3. And we're heading towards turn 1 here at Interlagos with Felipe Drugovich, the hometown hero, next to Nico Verone, Dudu Barrichello behind him, next to Danny Juncadella. Ibrahim, the championship leader, in 5th place. Pace car going to peel off to the left-hand side into pit lane. Drugovich gets to control the pace now. Here we go, round 3. Where is Drugovich going to go? He goes now, and away we go. The green flag drops. Felipe Drugovich, Verone, 2nd place. Juncadella now going to try and challenge as they head towards turn number 1 on the inside line. He's got a good jump as they head towards. He's going to go up the inside. Juncadella late on the brakes, takes Verone up the inside. Dudu Barrichello going to try and follow him through there. Not quite going to be able to do that. So Juncadella to 2nd, but Drugovich leads now. Verone going to try, and he's going to have to hold off young Barrichello here as they head towards turn number 4 for the first time. Verone on the outside. Dudu Barrichello going to try and make it 3 wide. They're nearly 3 abreast. Juncadella is having to fend off the Argentinian around the outside. He's going to have to hold back, and he does. So Verone, but miles off the road there for Juncadella and for Verone. Now Dennis involved. Now they're in the blue car and the number 40 cars. They head up the hill now. Dudu Barrichello to the inside. He's got Verone now up the inside. Can he try and take second away from Juncadella? Up the hill again. Now going to try and go late on the brakes, but I think Juncadella should have that one covered. But Barrichello to third. Verone dropped down to fourth. Then Denez, Ibrahim drops to 6th for sure, and Malin Stuka and Will Stevens are your top 10, and a great start from all these guys. Look clean all the way through.
Yeah, Felipe Drugovich has done what Juncadella did at the last round, isn't it? Juncadella got a great start at Suzuka and was able to capitalise on that and go on and take a lights to flag victory, and Drugovich hoping to do the same, I'm sure. There is Kasper Stuka. He's just made a place with a mistake. I think that was from Malin, who's dropped a place. Will Stevens, I think, likewise. So Stuka in the top 10. Very close battle this. We've got Will Stevens in there as well. He's looking to the outside. Malin involved as well. Likewise, Azam as they go down towards turn number 1, Jack.
Oh, big one. That's a massive shunt for Hugo de Sadalier, I think, was involved. That's a massive one. The car flipping down the straight in a huge accident at the front straightaway. Hugo de Sadalier, there's multiple cars involved there as they head turn even more. That's Nico Verone. Upside down in turn 3. There was contact with somebody there. We don't know who, but that's a massive crash. Josh Malin's out. Raul Hyman is out. Jarvis is out. Dennis is out. So there was contact with Dennis, and that is Mohamed Ibrahim with the front of his car gone. The championship leader has his car in pieces heading towards turn 5, and that is going to make a huge dent in his championship as Felipe Drugovich leads. This may cost Ibrahim a massive lead in the championship. He's in the middle of the road as well as they head up towards heading to a replay now to see if we can see what happened.
Yeah, let's have a look then. We can see Ibrahim there. What happens here? Going around a flat out corner, and yeah, well, just looks like he was just a little bit of an issue there and seemed to have got speared off from there. But Ibrahim, unfortunately, contact from the rear, and that has left him with pretty much no rear wing left. And Ibrahim, well, as you said, that's going to cost him in the championship. He only had a 7-point gap over Drugovich. Drugovich at the moment is going to get 25 points, so it's going to swing back the other way, and it's going to be an 18-point advantage for Drugovich over Mohamed Ibrahim. A real shame for the 17-year-old. Drugovich leading from Juncadella. Dudu Barrichello. It's 2 Brazilians in the top 3 spaces. Then we have Stevens, Mitchell, Azan, Hadsberg, Donaldson, Campbell and Rubens Barrichello, Jack, up to 10th.
He's going for 9th now, trying to go around the outside of Campbell there. Not quite able to do it there, but as they come through turn 4, he's got a little bit of damage on his front wing as well. So this is a great drive from Rubens. He started way down the grid here, but he's trying to get up there. You can see the straight line speed is going to cost him. Not able to keep up. And in the background, that is Alec Connor fighting with Cameron Dass, who's moving to the outside. Cameron Dass has come from the back of the field, as all these guys have, who started down the back of the field and who qualified through the consolation race. But just to keep eyes up front, Dudu Barrichello into 2nd. He's got Danny Juncadella. So now the Brazilians are 1 and 2. Now we look at Dudu Barrichello. He's got it done. So now the number 91 car now going to try and chase after Felipe Drugovich. So it's a Brazilian 1-2 at home. Danny Juncadella in 3rd, and Will Stevens miles off the back in 4th. Sandy Mitchell, Ramazan, Ferdinand Hasper, Cian Donaldson in 8th, and then Campbell and Rubens Barrichello in 10th place. If we head on to lap 4 of 10, these laps are flying past already.
Yep, already nearly halfway into the race. So Juncadella, as you said, good spot. He's dropped to 3rd place. Barrichello up into 2nd. It's going to be hard to close down Drugovich with the gap he has. Will Stevens going along very well in 4th place with Sandy Mitchell, who picked up a point at the opening round. Didn't go so well on the last round. He looks like he's on track to pick up his first big point score there in 5th place. But Will Stevens with a little bit of breathing space in 4th place. He's got Danny Juncadella up the road after that incident. It's really broken up the field. It's almost a length of turns 2 and 3 between Mitchell and between Stevens and Juncadella. This is Sandy Mitchell. He's not too far behind Stevens, but he's got one of the championship contenders, Ramez Azam, closing in behind him, along with Ferdinand Habsburg, Cian Donaldson, Campbell and Rubens Barrichello in 12th place. From 4th back, Jack, it looks very congested, but the top 3, they are absolutely gone after that incident.
Yeah, it's a big one. That took out Kasper Stuka, Mohamed Ibrahim, Harry Cottrell, Robert Dehaan, Phil Denez, of course, contact with Verona, who was also out, Ollie Jarvis, Matthias Caprik, De Sadalier, Yves Baltas, Alfred Nilsson. So half the field was gone in that huge one, and it's a shame for Nico Verona. He was doing so well, but I think it was contact with a couple of cars there flipping in turn 3, but Verona, his luck just does not go his way. But Cian Donaldson well up there in the top 10 now, chasing after Ferdinand Hatzberg. He's got Campbell, Rubens Barrichello in 10th place, who's getting caught a little bit now by Alex Connor, who's right on his tail actually, just in the background there. You can kind of see as they come over the back, there he is. And we look now, Cian Donaldson with Ramez Azam just in front of those guys. And there is Barrichello now, he's having to try and fend off Alex Connor there as they head down towards turn 1, and I think he's going to, that's the front wing damage going to cost him there, and there's nothing he could have done there. He's just falling down, unfortunately, due to the damage, but it's good to see that he's kept the car going even after there was contact. He was able to make it through that massive accident, but the front wing damage, it really hurts you in these cars.
Yeah, it really does. So we'll see how he can get on. This is the battle for 6th place between Hatzberg, Donaldson and Azam. That's Hatzberg, Azam there just trying to nip up the inside of Cian Donaldson, and he's going to do it on the exit. Is he the Canadian battling away with the Scottish driver Donaldson as they come up to the double right-hander. Donaldson on the inside, Azam on the outside. Campbell is closing in this as well. All of this is allowing the likes of Hatzberg to get away just up ahead in 6th place. So this is Prescott Campbell, USF 2000 driver, racing single-seaters over in the States. Currently 9th. At the moment, we've got British F4 driver Alex Connor not too far behind this. He's only about a second behind, having gone past Barrichello. Daz behind that as they come up to the last corner. This for the 5th of 10 times. Campbell going to tuck into the slipstream now of Azam with Donaldson just ahead of that. Prescott Campbell with a really good run here. He's just going to make his way past Azam. Azam in the tow of Donaldson, but Prescott Campbell has the speed, and Prescott Campbell, that's going to be 8th place. If he can get past Azam before the braking zone, then that will certainly be move complete, and Prescott Campbell moving over just to cover off any fight back from Ramez Azam.
Azam is carrying damage. I was just checking the front wing. Their left-hand side of his front wing is benting slightly. That's costing him on the straights as well. So he is carrying damage, and you can see that Prescott Campbell was just able to drive past him without a slipstream. So it's really unfortunate for Ramez Azam, the number 24 car, but again, he has kept the car going, and himself and Rubens Barrichello are suffering with damage. On lap 6 of 10, it's still Drugovic from Dudu Barrichello and Danny Juncadella in third. Now we look back, this is Drugovic now having to, that is Matt Greenwood, I think he's lapping, so this might cost him a little bit of time. It always does, and Dudu Barrichello is actually not that far away, I'll say, for Barrichello. There is the gap now, not quite in slipstream range just yet, but I certainly think that Matt Greenwood may have just helped Dudu Barrichello out a little bit there, because he has definitely closed the gap down and he's nearly within that slipstream range.
Yeah, well, he's just 8.5 tenths back, so not far behind at all. It's going to be enough to for Felipe Drugovic to get just a little bit nervous. 2 Brazilian drivers fighting for the lead here at Interlagos. What a fantastic story this is. This is the Isolation eRacing Series, drivers from all different classes of motorsport battling away with each other in F3 cars, and this is Dudu Barrichello we are looking at now. He's got only a few laps left, but he is trying to chase down Drugovic, and it's always easier when you are the one doing the chasing. For Drugovic, he's dealt with this situation, I'm sure, many times, but everyone says, Jack, that they feel more pressure in sim racing, actually, because they're not actually out there in the car. They kind of have more time to think about things. So Drugovic, I'm sure, will be feeling just a tad nervous with Dudu Barrichello trying to close him down.
Yeah, we heard from Danny Juncadella last week about how it's not physically draining, it's mentally draining.
Yeah.
They're chasing after that, and especially when you're leading, you're looking in the mirrors, you're looking at the relative box, and you're seeing the gap come down, and there's not a whole lot you can do if you're pushing at the limit. So Dudu Barrichello's got an easier time. He's chasing after his countrymen here, and Danny Juncadella is just holding on there in third place. This should be enough if Drugovic stays where he is to take the championship lead. So we'll wait and see how he carries on. Juncadella, of course, on a run of podiums as well, so if you can keep that run going, it'd be great. On to lap 8 of 10, and Barrichello has closed down a little bit more. So let's have a look now at the lap times. It's staying roughly there. We'll have a look at the lap times. It's very, very close between them. Fastest lap, Mohamed Ibrahim. It's not going to mean much. He's down in 16th place. here we go across the line. It's going to be a pretty much identical lap times between the two of them. 1:26.32, and Barrichello just a tad slower that time. Sandy Mitchell on Will Stevens round the outside if he can get it stopped. Stevens holds on for now. Sandy Mitchell looking to clear drive a cutback line, going to go the over-under on the exit of the Senna S's through turn 3 and into turn 4. Let's see if the GT driver can get it done on Will Stevens in the slipstream. There's not much that Stevens can do about this one now. Onto the outside with the overspeed in the number 19 car. Sandy Mitchell on a better run. He's had a terrible heat race, but now in the feature race he's going to try and get that 4th place, but he's not able to quite hold on. Will Stevens, of course, would have driven here in F1, so he knows this track very, very well, but Mitchell has to hang back.
Yeah, Will Stevens made 18 starts at F1 between 2014 and 2015. He's under pressure here from Sandy Mitchell. A quick story, actually, Jack, about Will Stevens. When I first started out doing all of this, I interviewed Will live on stage at the Autosport show, which takes place in Birmingham every January, and made one of the probably more embarrassing mistakes. I make quite a few of them, but I got his teams mixed up. So I went on stage and actually said he was with Mar Russia, which he wasn't at the time. But then, just a couple of weeks later, he signed with them. So I think he kind of looked at me and thought, how on earth does he know that's where I'm going?
Brilliant. He's going to have to try and fend off Sandy Mitchell behind him. Drugovich opening the gap out front. He's 0.3 of a second quicker that time, so Drugovich should have this one now. Sandy Mitchell going to have another go at Will Stevens on the outside line with the overspeed. He's going to have to try and outbrake him into turn 1. Stevens holding on, but round the outside. Brave stuff from Sandy Mitchell. I think he's going to get it done. Nicely done from Sandy Mitchell with the overspeed. I think Will Stevens may have just backed off a little bit there just to give him the room. He knows he's quicker, but still a very nice move.
Yeah, very good work there from Sandy Mitchell. So he's now up into 4th place. This is going to be a great result for him. He didn't have a good run out at Suzuka, finished 36 there. But this is going to be his 2nd point score of the season. And this should put him up near the top 10 in the championship. With the amount of points, he's going to score 12 points. So he'll be knocking on the door of the top 10, if not moving into that. But here we're looking at Alex Connor trying to sell the dummy. That's going to be brave to do a move into that double right hand. A very quick section of corners. Alex Connor, who came through the Consolation race battling for 7th place, has been an absolutely superb drive from him. Let's not forget Campbell is carrying just a little bit of damage, so Connor should be able to make this move here as we are on the penultimate lap of the race, Jack.
Yeah, so there's been no issues up front from Drugovich so far, but Alex Connor with a great drive in the back of the grid. As for Cameron Das, they all started down the back with the Consolation race, so 32nd, 33rd, there is Cameron Das. We look at him now as he chases after car in front of him, Ramez Azam on the back of him with the damage, of course. Rubens Barrichello not far off the back of them either. There he is, just in shot right there. So now Cameron Das, what can he do? That is that's not Keelan Donaldson from the Keelan Donaldson is just a little bit further up away from him, but here he goes. Cameron Das going to make a move on the number 46 car here as they head towards turn number 1 that he's trying to get past here. And see if Cameron Das not going to be able to do that there. I'm going to have to hang back for now. Dehaan a lap down, of course, and he's trying to make his way through. But we are on the final lap here in Interlagos. And out front, Felipe Drugovich out front, completely clear. And it's Brazil who are leading 1 and 2 at home. Dudu Barrichello not far off the back, but he's not quite got enough. Drugovich on course to take the championship lead away from Mohamed Ibrahim, who's been involved in an unfortunate incident, got caught up in the middle of that one. Verona as well out of this one. What might have been had they been in this one. Let's see now. Drugovich, he's only got one more corner really to negotiate, and he should be all good to go. So live on BT Sport for the Isolation eRacing Series, round number 3, heading towards the line at home in Interlagos. It's been a perfect day for the FIA Formula 2 driver Felipe Drugovich, who comes to the line, and he will win at home in Brazil for round 3. Eduardo Barrichello gets on the podium for a Brazilian 1-2, and Dani Junqueira will get 3rd place. Then it's Sandy Mitchell with a great 4th place. Will Stevens is going to cross the line for 5th place. Then Ferdinand Haas, we're going to get donuts from Eduardo Barrichello there in turn 1. Prescott Campbell, he's going to be able to hold off Alex Connor. I think he is. So Prescott Campbell gets 7th. A great drive from Alex Connor, 8th place. Keelan Donaldson in 9th. And from the back of the grid, Cameron Das in 10th. Azam, Rubens Barrichello gets 12th. Great drive from Rubens. Great to see him out on track. Hopefully we'll see more of him in the future. Kasper Stuka in 13th. And what about this man? Mohamed Ibrahim has just lost the championship lead.
Yep, he's lost it by 18 points as well. So Drugovic going to the top. Dudu Barrichello, that point score for him of 18, that could put him potentially into the top 10 in the championship straight away. Danny Juncadella will go up to second place with that score there of 15 points. A great result, his best result of the season for Stanley Mitchell. Likewise for Will Stevens. Hadsberg in the points for the first time. Great to see him up there. Likewise, Alex Connor. I believe this might have even been his first race. Prescott Campbell did very well for his 7th. Donaldson scoring his first points of the season. Cameron Daz likewise in 10th place. Rubens Barrichello with damage from 18th on the grid. 12th place isn't too bad. But the big story is we have a Brazilian 1-2 here at Interlagos. Drugovic taking the race win from Dudu Barrichello. What a fantastic evening of racing it has been in the Isolation eRacing series here from Interlagos. We're going to be hearing from some of our top 3 very, very shortly. But in the meantime, you can go and vote for the next trap. Head to @BT Sport. We've got a poll going on there for the next track, and it's currently being led by Silverstone and Donington, but you can also vote for Catalonia and also Indianapolis Road Course as well. Gemma has joined us once again. Gemma, what a fantastic story that is. 2 Brazilians leading the way, and I'm sure you're going to be speaking to them very shortly as well.
Absolutely. What an absolutely incredible race we've seen there tonight. Some really close action. First of all, we've got a number of drivers standing by to talk to us. Will Stevens, I want to have a quick chat with you first, if we can, sir. Will, it was a difficult race tonight. I thought we were going to see you pushing up just a little bit higher in the point system there, but that certainly wasn't an easy race, was it?
What? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We got you.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, obviously, you've got to be aggressive, but there's crashes left, right, and centre, so you just got to try and stay out of trouble, which I did. But yeah, I'm still getting used to it, so slowly getting towards the front end.
Look, this isn't the only championship or series that you're racing in with the iRacing. How different are all of the sims when you cross from Formula E, for example, through to a Formula 3 sim?
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. You've got to spend so much time in different cars and stuff, and a lot of people stick to one because it's hard to switch between cars, games, all that sort of stuff. So the F3 stuff is what most of the things I'm doing in, so getting more used to it the more I'm...
Well, it's great to have you with us. Thank you very much for talking to us. Also standing by, we spoke to him a little bit earlier on, Nick Yelloly. Nick, talk me through what happened tonight. Have we got Nick there?
Oh, hello. How you doing?
Hello. Oh, yeah, good. What happened tonight, man?
Probably partly a bit of run out of talent on the sim, and a little bit of contact as well. I think in the middle of the circuit, but yeah, good fun. I jumped on. I hadn't actually done any practice for this one, so jumped on the hour before. I'm pretty happy with being able to at least mix it a little bit and actually make it through to the final. I was on Discord with Will and Adam Christodoulou as well, so we were all talking during the races between us, and he did a great job to avoid everything and finish 5th too. So really enjoying it. Still, obviously, still got some time to find, but that's all going to be in just spending time in iRacing.
I love the fact that you're all chatting to each other during the race. You know, this really goes to show a slightly different side to racing, and one where you're used to chatting to your engineers and your team, but now it's chatting to your competitors.
Yeah, exactly. And if we're near the track next to each other, or we can say, oh, someone's going down the inside, be careful, because it's something that I'm not that used to, is being really aware of where the cars are on the circuit in the game. Obviously, in real life, that's quite easy, but in the game, it seems to be much more difficult to make sure you avoid people and race close but hard. So, definitely a lot of laughs. And actually, Adam is streaming it on his Twitch channel, I think, as well. So keep the fans entertained as much as we can.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much for joining us, Nick. Let's move on through then to our 3rd place man tonight, Danny Juncadella. You dominated last weekend. We spoke to you prior to the start of the race tonight. What a performance.
Thanks. Again, it was a good race. And unfortunately, this time I couldn't really beat the Brazilians. But, in my favor, I could say that they were racing at home. And I was the best of the rest, and congrats to Felipe. He was amazingly quick, and also Eduardo. He's a very, very, very quick kid, and they showed us the right way to go in Brazil. But hoping for the next one to be a little bit better for me.
Well, it's slightly, frustrating sometimes when you can't pull it through like that. But, we've got 2 Brazilians up there on the podium. Perhaps that's just the way it should be.
It is, yeah. And, these races with such a big field, you need to try to stay out of trouble. That's what I did on my... Well, I mean, the heat race was amazing. It was a great fight with Phil Dennis. I don't know how to spell his name, but he was very, very good. And he was very fair as well. And I think we put on a very good show, which is always nice to have instead of too much wheel banging. And then for the final, I was just not quick enough to beat those guys today, but I still managed to score a podium, which is always good with such a big field, and looking forward to a kinder next event.
Well, we've got 2 more races ahead of us before the championship is over. So wish you the best of luck for those 2 races. Thank you very much for joining us again tonight. And again, a fantastic 3rd position for you, Danny. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Gemma.
Well, Danny helped to bring my next guest into the series. I would like to now speak to Rubens Barrichello. Rubens, thank you very much for becoming part of the series. Great to see you racing and in the old livery of your former Formula One car as well.
It's a great pleasure for me to be amongst those kids that we will get them eventually in a real big car like Formula Ones, Indy cars, whatever. I mean, they're so talented, and I'm having a wonderful time just having the simulator here. And my son, I mean, he's just amazing. It's hard to beat him right now, so I'm just keeping my foot down.
What enticed you into joining us as part of this series? Because obviously, was it the fact that you're seeing these young drivers doing so well and you wanted to challenge them? Is it just the excitement of being part of that adrenaline rush again?
Well, since I've stopped racing Formula One, I went to Indy cars 1 year, and then for 7 years now I've been doing stock cars. So I can't leave without that adrenaline, to be honest. But this series is just the case of the challenge. I just love the challenge, and I became 48 on Saturday, and I'm still here. So I hope that this thing just keeps me young. So I gotta keep rolling. So, but I also have eyes for the kids. You see people that know how to run alongside you, people that have a little bit more racecraft, people that some people that are just mad about this. Is going to be just good on this. So I keep an eye open for this because it's good to help obviously the Brazilians to get forward, but to keep an eye open. Yeah, we can always be helping people get to the top.
Well, certainly Formula 3 is a platform which will really launch people forward into their Formula 1 career. You know that all too well yourself, having come through these series in your career, and now looking at these young guys. This is actually a platform where we're seeing people who are due to move forward into perhaps the Indy career or perhaps into the Formula One career.
Absolutely. I've done Formula 3 myself. I won my first year in Europe was on a Formula Opel Lotus, which we don't have anymore, which was Vauxhall Lotus in England. And then I won the Formula 3, the British Formula 3 back, I can't say the year because otherwise, I already said that I'm 48, so I can't say the year. It was 1990, so it was wonderful. Formula 3 is definitely a platform that teaches you a lot, and it's fun to drive. On this simulator here, I just have fun.
Well, thank you very, very much for joining us. And now, of course, you are the dad of a young racing driver yourself. A bit more pressure on you from that side of things, perhaps.
Oh, I have 50%. I'm thrilled to be his dad because he's really doing well, and 50% I'm bored that he's beating myself. So I have both of a mix of emotions.
Well, on that note, I'm going to jump over and have a chat with the boy himself as well, who of course finished tonight in second place. Rubens, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Talk well about your dad, son. Okay. Cheers.
Did you hear that, Dudu? You got to talk well about your dad tonight.
I will.
You beat him.
Let's go.
Are you proud of yourself now? The fact that you've managed to come through, not beat him by a little bit, but beat him by a great margin.
The race was good. I was more nervous in my dad's heat one than my than my own race because I didn't know if he was going to be able to qualify to the final, but he did. So the races were pretty good. I had 2 good starts, heat 1 and in the final. I managed to get out of the crashes and just keep not making big mistakes. Felipe, as we know, is very, very fast. He was flying today. I thought I could catch him. At one point, I thought I was catching him, but then the last 3 laps, I just couldn't catch him anymore. But that was it, really. It was good result. I was happy to finish P2, and it's in Brazil, and Brazilian drivers first and second, so not bad.
It doesn't get better than that. We couldn't have written it better if we'd tried. So congratulations, Dudu. Well done. A fantastic performance again. And thank you to you and to your dad. Let's go across now then to our race winner, who is now our championship leader, Felipe Drugovich. What a performance.
Hello, guys. Yes, it was a very nice race. Starting from the qualifying, I think I did a very good lap. I was actually quite surprised with the lap time. I was not expecting that, and yeah, it was from there on. It was quite good. I could do a quite good heat 1. I was quite consistent, and Dudu was quite close to me all the time, and then in the final, I could pull a good gap already in the start. I knew it was really important just to pull away in the first. In the first moment, in the green flag, just to break the toe, and I could do that. So, and then from there on was really nice. I got a little scary from the bad markers that didn't let me pass one time, and but luckily I still kept some gap to him behind. So yeah, it was quite good.
Oh, it was a fantastic race. Well done. You certainly, kept that pace and kept that distance between yourself and Dudu. Well done to you, Felipe. You're now leading the championship, so we will be looking for great things from you from next time out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Well, I do believe we have one more driver just standing by. A very, very quick word with now Fernando Habsburg. Fernando, great evening of racing. Close wheel action as always. Ferdinand, are you there? I'm not sure if we can hear him, in which case I am going to have to tell you that was edge of your seat racing. And if you're anything like me, you've probably been screaming at your computer, your television screens and your computer screens wherever you're watching, and you're probably grinning just like I am right now. And of course, there are indeed 2 more rounds still to come for the May Isolation eRacing Series. And it's up to you at home, as always, to help us choose where we go next in order to vote for your circuit choice for next time. All you need to do is hop on over to BT Sports Twitter page where you can cast your vote. The choices being, of course, Silverstone, Catalunya, Indianapolis Road Course or Donington, which I can tell you is currently leading the vote. Make sure your voice is heard so that you can see your favourite drivers on your favourite track. And that is just about it from us here at the virtual Interlagos circuit. Felipe Drugovich, as I said, now leads the championship by a decent margin, and all is still to play for. Join us again this time next Monday live at 6 p.m. on BT Sport, and of course opportunities to catch up online later on for more epic racing. But until then, stay home, stay safe and take care.